Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Actually It's Amira, where I talk news, celebrity gossip, hot topics, and anything that really just grabs my attention. I haven't been on here in quite a while to give my commentary, probably not since the whole Kanye West situation. But this whole Shanquella Robinson case has been floating all around the internet. And I didn't want to jump to any rushed conclusions or give any premature judgments about the situation. So I wanted to do my best to kind of hear as much of the story as I possibly could before I came up with some questions and hypothesis about what I think um, is going on in this situation. Hi, T. Lee. How are you? And I want to say questions and hypothesis because obviously, hi, Lipstick Hustler. I haven't seen you in a long time. Because obviously, I am not an investigator on this case. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a judge or anything. And I don't know what went down in Mexico because I was not there. So everything that I'm saying is allegedly. Um, and it's just based on my personal opinion. And most of it is just asking questions about what I've heard people say, in particular, the people who were actually on the trip. And some inconsistencies that I've identified in their stories, some things that just don't make sense, as well as some questions I have for both the FBI as well as the Mexican government about this whole case. So, one of the first things I wanted to cover, it has so many moving parts, T. It does. So many. One of the first things I wanted to cover um, is Malik. Hold on, I just want to write down one more note because I don't want to forget it. Um, that I want to cover. But the first point I wanted to cover is Malik. So Malik went on a live, and I must have listened to his live, well, broken down into a snippet that everyone's been circulating at least 10 times, because sometimes the first time you hear something, you may pass a quick judgment about it. The second time you listen, you may pull out something a little more. The third time you listen, you get something a little more. But the more that you kind of put it into memory and let it bake into your psyche, and you ponder on it, you can come up with some pretty fascinating conclusions. So I want to walk through what he said in his live. So one of the first things that stood out to me is that he said when he arrived in Mexico around 3:26 p.m., he got to the villa and he instantly went to Quilla. He also goes on to say that he had no idea that anything was wrong with her, that he was not made aware that anything was wrong with her, and that he was essentially blindsided by the whole situation when he arrived. But yet he says he instantly went to Quila. One thing he doesn't mention is why he instantly went to her. He never says when I walked into the villa, Winter or Dejanay or Khalil came up to me and was like, "Yo, Quilla in the game room and she's sick." And he said, he says no. He says I went in, I dropped my bag, and I instantly went to Quilla in the game room, right? That's what he said he found her. But we see from looking at the video that Quilla had a fight with Dejanay in the bedroom. And if we go with the theory that it was that fight and those fatal blows that rendered her unconscious or dislocated or essentially broke her neck from the inside, how did her body get moved from that bedroom to the game room? That's one. Number two, he also mentions that when he finds Quilla, that he was told it was alcohol poisoning and that he treated it. He didn't say that in the live that he made. In the live he made, he doesn't mention that they informed him ahead of time. He doesn't say that. He said, "I had no idea what was going on. I pulled up to the villa, dropped my bags, and I instantly went to Quilla." He said they told me it was alcohol poisoning, so I that's what I believe. He doesn't mention who told him. He doesn't mention how far in advance he knew. But that's not even the most important part. Hey, Crystal, the most important part is he says when he goes to Quilla in the game room that he put her on her side. He said, I put her on her side and I turned on Summer Walker. Now, my question is this. If you are being informed, Lint Liquor, if you are being informed that someone has alcohol poisoning, what do you typically see in an alcohol poisoning situation? You see this person vomiting. You may see this person sweating. You may see this person panting. You may see this person moaning and groaning because they're vomiting violently. Alcohol poisoning presents with vomiting, moaning, unresponsive. By the time you reach the point of being unresponsive from alcohol poisoning, you are in a severe medical crisis. We are beyond turning on Summer Walker and putting you on your side. We are far beyond that. We are beyond 911. Somebody call an ambulance. So the fact that he says his immediate reaction was to turn her on her side and put on Summer Walker made me question some things, because he never mentioned getting her water. Oh, he said he called for directions. They told him she wasn't feeling well. Okay, I guess I missed that part. He never mentioned getting her water. He doesn't mention, oh, I went in, he doesn't mention fanning her because she was sweating. He doesn't mention talking to the others and saying, hey, can you guys get me a cold rag? Can you guys get me some ice? He doesn't mention some of the things that you would expect to hear. This is just my observation. Some of the things that you would expect to hear from someone who has alcohol poisoning. Now, he does mention some things like he looked at her and her eye was bloodshot, or her blood vessel was busted out in her eye, and she had a bump on her lip. But what he doesn't go on to say is, when I noticed those things, I asked them, hey, what happened to her face, or did she fall, or how did she get her eye busted out? He says, I wasn't thinking, which I do, beat her ass or something. He said that he wasn't thinking that. So, but that's, to me, as somebody who's just looking on the outside looking in, seems inconsistent with somebody who's blindsided by a gravely ill person who appears battered. I feel like if I'm walking into a situation that could potentially lead to a homicide, because at the end of the day, we're talking about young adults, right? Young adults who I'm sure have drank before, have gotten blackout drunk before, have done one too many shots. Like, we're a young millennial pop culture community. So in my mind, if I've been around lit people before and people who get drunk, my first thought would be, wait a second, I know she drunk and everything, but like, she looking like she might have got hands put on her. Like, what's good? What's going on here? And if he is innocent to this, which he proclaims that he is, and you had nothing to do with it, I would be you would be hard pressed to have me not ask those hard questions or get the police involved, because I'm not about to go down for a murder potentially that I was not akin to, or an accomplice of. You can be an accomplice after the fact, which means this. I'm saying this from to Malik. Like, if you walked into a situation and you was not aware that it was a crime, and you didn't ask those questions, and or if you did ask those questions and was made aware that it was that of what went down, and you didn't do anything or report what you knew, you can become an accomplice after the fact to a serious crime. So that was something that was like, if it were me and I walked in on my friends, but and it looked suspicious, I'm gonna get to the bottom of what went down to protect my own ass. Because if I found out that y'all did something to this girl and I had nothing to do with it, I'm going to either make sure something is said while I'm there, or as soon as I get back to America, I'm gonna have to go say something, because I'm not about to be an accomplice to a crime after the fact. So that those were my questions for Malik. That was kind of like, something seems a little awry here with him. Another thing is willful blindness. Sometimes you might have a feeling that a crime was committed, but because you don't want to implicate yourself into the crime, or because you don't want to know, you will turn a blind eye to things, because you're like, yo, if I don't ask no questions, then I don't really got to say I knew what was going on because nobody told me. So it's something called willful blindness, where it's like, I know something ain't right here, but I ain't gonna ask no questions, because if I don't know nothing, I ain't got to lie. You can't say I lied, because I ain't nobody ever told me anything. So then it brings up that other question for me, like, was he exercising willful blindness, or did he know, and was he an accomplice after the fact? He also talks about going from the game room to the living room. So how did her body, if you said you laid her on her side and turned on Summer Walker, who moved her body from the game room to the living room? Because he then goes on to say that the maid found her slumped over the toilet. So it's just so many inconsistencies. Like the maid found her slumped over the toilet, but then you said you saw her in the game room, but then her body was moved to the living room because he said we all went to the living room. Well, who moved the body to the living room? And what was her state when she was moved to the living room? He does mention that Quilla wouldn't talk to him, that he couldn't get her to respond to him, and that he was trying to get her to like get up and be like, yo, we supposed to do ATV and we supposed to do this, that, and the third. Like, I need you to get up. I don't know. It's just the story just doesn't seem to be consistent to somebody who's walking into a situation at a critical point. There, he doesn't seem panicked. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I didn't get a sense of panic from him. I got a sense of calm and of maybe you wanted to create a serene environment to allow for this woman to pass over to the other side gently. That's the thought, the feeling that I got from it. Now let's talk about Winter Donovan, because somebody put a clip out on her in which um she said that Quilla said some foul ish to Dejanay, or did some foul ish to Dejanay, and that's what made the fight pop off. And when I looked at the video of the fight, and I'm not gonna play any of this any content, but when I looked at the video of the fight, you guys, I was like, what am I witnessing right now? Because when you're looking at a crime of passion is when you're enraged in the moment and you just wild out because you're so infuriated about an argument, right? So if there's like a heated argument back and forth between two people and you snap and you just like tee off on somebody and you hit them too hard, they fall back, hit their head on a piece of concrete or on the side of the table, they black out and die. That to me would be a crime of passion, right? That's not what we're witnessing. We're witnessing Quilla unclothed, looking like she just rolled out of bed. And I think Winter, in her clip that somebody posted, said that um Dejanay didn't want to drag Quilla out of the bed. Like she didn't want to drag her out of the bed. So it when that comment was made, it made me question this. Did you marinate on your anger overnight? Because if you wake up first thing in the morning, you still have on pajamas, you have on your bonnet, you haven't probably even brushed your teeth, you haven't eaten breakfast, drank a coffee, and the first thing on your mind when you wake up in the morning is fighting somebody. Excuse me, I have a little cold. Let me get my water. Hold on. Sorry, guys. But if you wake up in the morning out of a, out of sleep with your pajamas on and a bonnet, and the first thing on your mind is fighting somebody. Like that's the first thing on your mind is fighting somebody. That means you percolated on that rage all night long. All night long. And if Winter is telling the truth when she says she didn't want to drag Quilla out of the bed, it means that you stormed into that girl's room and you didn't want an explanation, you didn't want a justification, you didn't want anything. You wanted action. You immediately sprang into violence with an unclothed woman. Most people who are not in a crime of passion would say, you know what? I'm gonna wait till she wake up and I'm gonna confront her about what she said. I'm gonna confront her about what she did. I'm gonna approach her, and if she don't say what, if the conversation go in a direction I don't agree with, oh, it's going down. But to go into someone's room and allegedly drag them out of their bed to fight them, that means that you had all the evidence that you needed. You were immediately springing into action. So my question is, who put the thought the of violence into Dejanay's mind? What evidence did they give her? What text message did they show her? What pictures, what video, what footage was she given in order to spring into such a rage that you would fight an unclothed woman out of the bed and first thing in the morning? That to me, without any allowing this woman to justify her action. And then when Quilla in the fight, when the Khalil, who I believe is the one, in my opinion, I don't have any proof of this, but if I'm guessing, I would believe that Khalil, who was supposed to be her friend, I think that he played a role in inciting this rage into Dejanay. Like he knew what Quilla did was wrong. It's very sad. It almost gives me the vibe that he knew what Quilla did was wrong, and he was like, "Yo, I'm gonna let you get your feel on with her, cause what she did was some effed up ish. Like for you to record that, and that's supposed to be your friend, it gives me the mindset that you felt that this woman Dejanay was justified in her actions for fighting your friend, and you like, I'm gonna let you get the fair one on her. So that's me just reading into the situation. That's the vibe I got. And so it to me is not a crime of passion. This is a crime of revenge. When I seen her fighting this woman's naked body, and when I heard Quilla say, when he said, I'm sorry, when Khalil said, "Damn Quilla, can you at least fight back?" And she said, "No." To me, that no resounded with, I've accepted my fate. I've accepted that I'm deserving of this violence against me. That was the no that I felt. It was a resounding no. It was a no. It wasn't a help me. It wasn't Khalil get her. It wasn't why y'all letting her do this to me. It wasn't why are you fighting me. It was no confusion in Quilla's tone. She was not even remotely confused about why she was being attacked and being um yeah, nobody helped her. But T, think about it. Think about it. When Quilla, when this girl is swinging on her, if someone's fighting you and you feel undeserving of their violence, or you're caught off guard with it, your human response for survival would be to defend yourself, meaning you're gonna start fighting back just because you like, oh no, you got like if you feel justified in the fight, you're going to fight back. You're gonna be like, even if win, lose, or draw, you're gonna swing back. And if you know you're outmanned and you're not deserving of the attack, you would be screaming for help. To me, I got the vibe that Shanquella knew that nobody in that house was going to help her. She had accepted that she had put herself in a situation where she was outmanned, outnumbered, and outplayed in the situation. Because that no, it was a different kind of no that I heard. I heard a no of no, like I don't want to give that no to me said I don't want to give her any more reason to hurt me even more than she already is. That's the no I heard. The tone, I mean, that's the tone I got from it. That's the, I guess you would call that the connotation, or the suggested meaning that I felt was a, I don't want to give her any more reason to hurt me any more than she already is. So no, I'm not fighting back. So that was my thought there. And I think Winter's cold and callous commentary, if that really was her on the live, because no one showed her face, they just showed like a voiceover. Her cold diction on the situation, I don't think that girl seemed remorseful at all for what happened to Shanquella. I don't think she feels remorseful at all. And I'm going to go ahead and make a quantum leap here. And again, this is allegedly and based on no facts. This is based on nothing. This is just a gut feeling I have. My gut feeling is that the Mexican authorities or the Mexican doctors arrived to that home and very clearly knew what happened to Shanquella. They may not have known how it happened, but they were aware of what happened to that girl. They may not have known the reason, but they were aware, in my opinion. They looked at that crime scene because it was a crime scene and they made a few choices. One, does Mexico want to take on the death, the homicide of an American at a Mexican villa that could impact our tourism? Two, Is there any video footage of what went on here that could be proven that we were negligent in this situation? 3, should the police get involved? It's not lost on me that certain parts of Mexico can be considered corrupt. It's not lost on me that people take bribes. It's not lost on me that a conversation could have been had that maybe went something like this. This doesn't look good for you guys. We may have to call the federales. We may have to make some difficult phone calls. And if y'all want to go back to America and not be detained in Mexico, we need some dinero. We need some pesos. Give us some pesos and maybe this can go away. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm not. But I have a feeling that something like that could have happened. I have a very strong feeling that something like that could have happened where money was offered to those doctors, to whoever who arrived on the scene in order to say it was alcohol poisoning, in order to document it however we needed to be documented, in order to and so that they could go home. So people are saying that Shanquella was robbed of $10,000. Well, was that money used to pay off a few people to turn a blind eye to a crime? I asked the question. Did Shanquilla really have $10,000 in Mexico? To me, these are very easy questions to answer. If she had a bank account, you can literally see, it doesn't need to be this speculative. And I know that the FBI may be keeping a lot of this under wraps as to not have the public investigate this crime, because that's probably not what they want to have happen, right? You don't want, the public investigating this crime, right? Like that only causes a problem. But my question is this: it's not hard to look at this woman's bank statements and see if she really took out $10,000 or whatever amount of money she took out to go to Mexico. It's not difficult to find these people. People are saying, "Oh, we can't locate these mysterious six. We can't find them." I don't understand that. We live in a world where there are cameras. You have a geo fencing exists, and geo fencing is essentially, let's just say you go to Starbucks. You know how you'll get an alert that says, "Do you want to check in at Starbucks?" Like Facebook used to have that you could check in your location. That's called geo fencing. Geofencing exists all over this world. You cannot, you almost cannot take a piss in a public place without your location being monitored by a camera. You leave a digital footprint everywhere you go. And unless these people have overnight figured out how to live off the grid, these 20 some odd year old children, in my opinion, or young adults have figured out how to live off the grid. I find it deeply concerning that they are letting this narrative play out that they can't find these people. I don't believe that. You are talking about minority young adults who, in my opinion, do not have substantial access to resources. Like, they're not rich kids who are privileged enough to have their parents secretly extradite them to another country, or they could disappear off the face of the earth into, please. The moment this crime was reported, they ran a whole familial tree on everybody you have been related to in your entire life, and it would be very easy to find these people. And harboring a fugitive, if the FBI did bring charges against them, harboring the fugitive is a felony in itself. So my question then becomes, does America, they can track everything, T, through geofencing. Traffic lights in this country can take pictures now. Easy Pass gets your license plate. Your phone is tracked everywhere you go. If you log into any social media, your IP address. This is, how when people set up two-step authentication on their social media, and someone tries to log into your device from a new location, you'll get an alert that says, "Are you trying to access this device from New Orleans, Louisiana, yes for say yes or no in order to block this login attempt. Everywhere you go in this country is tracked. If you log into social media, you left a digital footprint. If you go on Amazon and buy toilet paper, you left a digital footprint. You geofencing is real, and these people, you cannot take a pee outside and not be seen. Correct, Ebony? You cannot. I refuse to believe, as somebody who is a competent thinking adult, that our government or the news people cannot locate these people to and question them about this case. Now, it's one thing if you want to say we've located them and they're being questioned, but we don't want to disclose the details of this to the public as not to tamper our investigation. Okay, I'll believe that. But to lead people to believe that you can't find these people, that they've somehow disappeared, that it's that you can't get the answers you're looking for is BS. All you got to do, and the longer it takes for them to say that they can't get the full story, the more time these people have to try to corroborate a story. It is not difficult to get an injunction or a sanction or subpoena or whatever to the phone company to put a wiretap on these people's phone lines. I guarantee you that if the FBI is involved, the phone lines of every one of their family members have already been tapped. They've already been listened to, and they have already making sure that you are not having any private conversations trying to corroborate your story with your counterparts, because that's how the FBI works. Wire tracing, phone tapping, all of it is up for grabs. You can't do anything. It's all being watched. So that's a concern. And the second thing is, if the United States does not take an aggressive stance here and they let these kids get off, you know what they open up the gateway of? They open up the gateway to murder tourism, because there are people out here who really have thoughts of unaliving others. And if you let these kids get off with this crime, what's to stop somebody else from saying, well, if we don't like our friend, or if we don't like our homeboy, or if we don't like our cousin, or if we got any problems with anybody, let's get them on a group trip out of the country and unalive them, because the U.S. won't investigate. And the reporting is real dicey in a foreign country. What's to stop this from becoming an endemic? What's to stop this from becoming a thing where you could just go out of the country if you want to get someone going? I think that the government in America needs to send a hard, strong message that we will not allow an American to be unalived on foreign territory and not take an aggressive response to it. Because if you don't, you're sending a dangerous message to everybody else, a very dangerous message to the world, a very dangerous message. And that's very scary to me. Very scary to me. I think that each one of them, it's a very terrifying thought, but it's possible. It's possible. If these kids get away with this, our government will set a dangerous precedent about murder tourism. A dangerous precedent. And we should all be aware of that, because it is our friends, it is our family, it's our children who will suffer the consequences of this negligence should they decide not to handle this case appropriately. This will fall back on all of us, because if they get away with this, I'll never let my kid go on a group trip out of the country without me being present, because all I'll be thinking is, are these people your friends or your enemies? You sure? And I'm not saying these kids did anything to her. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. But what we do know is that there was a violent fight that happened between those people. And when that initial report was made, that violent fight was not documented. So at the very least, we don't have all the facts reported to the police and to the medical examiner in Mexico at the time of death. That we know for facts, because we all saw the fight. So at the very least, we have criminal assault. And if it was more than one person, perhaps it goes from criminal assault to kingpin activity or gang activity. Because if two or more people attack one individual in an organized fashion, that can go up. That can increase the charge from misdemeanor or felony assault to gang assault. There's levels to this criminal justice system. So my thing is, if I'm Malik and I'm not involved in this potential alleged organized activity, if that's what happened, I'm not going to go down for a crime I didn't commit. That could literally lead to me being extradited to a foreign country, serving federal time in America for failure to report the unaliving, the true circumstances regarding the unaliving of an American citizen. If he had nothing to do with it, then he should be talking to the authorities. And I know people have commentary about snitching and not snitching and all of that. You do what you do with your own street credibility. But if I was brought into a situation in which because if I'm Malik, here's my position on it. It's really sad these young ladies dining with these fake. I know I didn't hear about Akira. Here's my thought on it. If I'm innocent, if I'm innocent to a situation and I haven't even arrived, and my friends text me and they like, yo, sis, you ain't gonna believe this. Such and such jumped Quilla and she unresponsive. Like, I don't know what happened, but she ain't looking good right now. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get my ass back on the plane and I'm gonna go home. I'm not showing up to the scene of no crime. I'm not implicating myself in no crime. All of a sudden, I'm a text back. You know what? I ain't even feeling good. I don't think I'm gonna make it, y'all. And I'm going home because I don't want to be there. I don't want to know. I don't. Because once you lied to me and you took away my freedom to choose whether or not I wanted to be an accomplice to this alleged crime, allegedly, you put me in a situation that now I got to defend myself. Yeah. If I was Malik, I'm either A, you inform me of what went down and I'm not coming. If you would have texted me, yo, it was a fight, Quilla got into a fight, we jumped her, whatever, and she unresponsive, my text back is going smooth B. What you mean she unresponsive? Yeah, yo, she unresponsive. I'm not coming. I'm not coming. And if I do show up and I see what's going on, I'm not leaving until it's clearly documented that I was not here when this shit happened. I'm not going to just fly home with y'all and we'll figure it out when we get home, because now you're an accomplice after the fact. You literally walked in innocent and walking out a felon. It don't make no sense to me. It doesn't make any sense to me. And if y'all further stole her money, allegedly, because I don't know if that part is true. The FBI would easily be able to find if she took $10,000 to Mexico, easily, unless she was stashing $10,000 in cash under her mattress. I doubt. She was a 25-year-old girl. I'm sure she used the bank accounts and stuff. If y'all took her credit cards, used her money, or did any of those things, I hope they understand that not only did it go from criminal assault, which could have just been Dejanay versus Shanquella. Them two had a fight, and God forbid something terrible happened. She was passed. Y'all didn't report it. It went from that to kingpin activity, gang activity, right? Because now it's two or more people involved, gang activity. Now you add in stealing her money. Now you are building yourself up to a RICO case because it's beyond now. Now it's organized crime. It's organized crime. It's organized crime. And then if you took her money, and if the Mexican government come out in any way and said y'all paid these people to suppress the details of this crime, it has now gone to money laundering, uh, corruption. It has gone to a whole new level. You went from potentially accidental manslaughter to criminal racketeering charges at the federal level, life in prison. For what? For what? It's insane to me the way in which people record these crimes, implicate themselves. It's like there's no moral conscience anymore in the world. To record a crime and to upload it to social media or to distribute it, like I don't think people understand how they implicate themselves and how far and fast things can go, even accidentally. My thing is Malik is okay. So why you get there the next day and you leave the same day you arrived? It makes no sense. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know his state of mind. I don't know his state of mind. Maybe his state of mind was, yo, once I get there, maybe I can talk to her. Maybe she'll wake up. Maybe she'll start feeling better and we can pretend this never happened. I don't know his state of mind. But what I do know is once I arrived and realized, because no one is stupid. Like we have to understand, no one is stupid. You know when somebody is in a comatose state. You know when you see somebody, I'm just telling you, as somebody who has been around friends who've been drunk before, and you feel like, wait, should I call the cops? Like, are you too drunk? Like, maybe we should go to the hospital, or are you just drunk? Like, you just too lit. You're going to start lifting up their eyes and looking at their pupils. You're going to start snapping your hand in front of their face. You're going to start throwing water on them. Like, you're going to try to get them to react to you. And the fact that he's not talking about any of these things when he was on his live, like he didn't say, you know what? When I saw her, she didn't look good. So I like lift her eyes up. I'm looking at her pupils. I'm feeling her pulse. I got a cold rag and put it on her head. Like he's not talking like somebody who walked into a medical emergency that they're confused about. He talking like I turned on Summer Walker and I started rubbing her head like he was helping her transition to the other side in a calm manner. That's how I took it. I'm not gonna lie. That's how I interpreted what he said. I don't know if that's what he meant, but that's how it came off to me. It was strange. Jay Breezy said they plotted on her. If you look at the video Shanquella was posting, the other folks' energy was way off. They wasn't hyped enough in Mexico for me. It was red flags with fake friends. Um, the plotting on her theory, I did think about, and I could go down that road, but the only thing that I that gives me pause there is, why, if you're plotting on somebody, why first thing in the morning? Like it was a first thing in the morning attack, it seemed, because of the pajamas. It looked like it was daylight. Usually, if you're plotting on somebody, well, I guess plotting on somebody, your only aim would be to catch them off guard. And, you catch somebody first out of the bed, waking up in the morning. That is pretty much off guard. So that could be a theory. That could be a theory. That could be a theory. But I didn't get that. I'm more likely to believe that it wasn't they didn't that it wasn't a plan, like we going to Mexico just to do this. I'm more likely to believe that while they were there, they were made aware of something real bad and reacted to it. And it was like, oh, when she wake up, it's on. But then somebody probably was like, nah, don't even let her to wake up. Go in the room and wake her ass up. Get her out of the bed. Nah, she gonna answer for this right now. And the fact that Quilla wasn't fighting back and the girl still kept going, that is rage. That's a rageful act. Usually if it's a argument that just got out of hand, you might smack the person to piece them up. But once you realize this person not fighting back, you'll go from violence to like crap talking, right? You'll stop swinging and then you'll be like, I knew you was a punk. I knew you wasn't going to do nothing, like blah blah blah. But it was like, you're fighting someone who's not fighting you back and you're not stopping. I don't know. That to me seemed a little bit more aggressive than passion. Oh, Nazir, who came late, Malik recorded the fight. Oh, you know what? I might have the name wrong. You're right. This whole time I'm talking about, I kept saying Malik. I definitely meant Nazir. Thank you to whoever just corrected me. I definitely meant Nazir. I got all these freaking names written down. Oh my God. I just went on like a 40-minute live saying Malik. I definitely meant Nazir. Thank you so much for correcting me. I'm a little sick, so I'm not on my My P's and Q's all the way, but definitely meant Nazir, not Malik. Strike that from the record. Um, it Thank you, Kimberly, for pointing that out. I did. I think everybody. I think everybody knew who I meant. They knew who I meant. um, 10,000 isn't enough to run anywhere, especially for the number of people with it. Yeah, $10,000 is not a lot of money. $10,000 is a lot of money to somebody who's poor in Mexico, though. And if I arrive to a crime, if you are corrupt, and I'm not saying I don't know these people in Mexico, but I'm just putting out a theory. This is a pure hypothesis. If you are poor, poor by American standards, right? So you may be a nurse in Mexico, but the equivalent that's not the same as being a nurse in America. The wages are not the same. You're not making nowhere near the same amount of money. It's a very different set of circumstances. So if you arrive to a situation that is beyond repair, right? Like, so it's clear that this person is gone and there's nothing you can do to save them. At that point, who has the upper hand in this situation? If we really just being real, the Mexican authorities. They could, like, do you think the Mexican authorities want to have to answer to the American government about the unaliving of a woman in Mexico? No, it's much easier to extort these kids for money. It's much easier, and I'm not saying they did, but it's much easier to. It's much easier to be like, how y'all want us to write this up? Alcohol poisoning? Well, you gonna have to pay us. Cause this ain't alcohol poisoning. You want to stay in Mexico? Imagine being 25, 26 years old, knowing that you potentially took somebody out. Not saying they did, because I don't know what happened, but let's just say it did go down that way. Let's just say it did. And your options are pay the Mexican federales or the Mexican government officials some money, or be held in Mexico for an indefinite amount of time while you wait investigation and arraignment. What would you choose? What would you choose? At that point, if the Mexican government tell you, well, with this how we gonna write up the report, we gonna put it was alcohol poisoning, blah blah blah. Don't worry, we got you. Give us this money. What would you choose? Not saying it's right. Not saying it's right, but a hypothetical situation that I could see someone doing that, and now they got to answer for that if that's how it happened. She did hurt her bad. Remember the girl told her, "I'm sick of your shit." I'm thinking like you. You tired of what, ma'am? She had some built up rage. Yeah, she had built up rage. Definitely, Jay Breezy. She said that if she was built up, to me, that was not a crime of passion. That was not over the argument from the night before. That was, you were sitting on that. Like, you were sitting on that. Everybody keeps saying there's a second video about Winter's attack. I mean, you know, I know there's whenever you record something with your phone, guys, it goes to the iCloud. If you have an iPhone, everything you do, I don't care if you delete it, I don't care if you screenshot it. People need to really understand that your phone is a digital record of everything you've ever done in your life, every internet search you've ever had, the metadata. If we didn't learn anything else from the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial, we need to learn that you can literally take a photo and try to edit it in Photoshop. And there is somebody who can go back and look at the original metadata to figure out what that photo looked like before you edited it. All the crimes that you have committed are recorded on your phone if you are a criminal. Your footprint, your traffic cam lights, your iCloud. If the FBI is on you, trust me, they know everything. The video's already been seen. And I don't understand why the FBI or why the authorities or why the American government won't just come out and say, hey, you guys, we are talking to these people and we are listening to their stories and finding the holes, and we have this under control. It's the why are they letting this live in speculation? It's the strange part to me. Like, why are they letting the sort of internet investigate the crime while they have the news people come out and say, the calls we made or haven't been returned. Well, who turned off their phones? You can't just turn somebody's phone off. Somebody had to call T-Mobile. Somebody had to call Sprint. Somebody had to call Verizon and say, "Hey, can you disconnect this line?" Who placed the phone call? The phone company records those calls. Every time you call Verizon, it says your call is being monitored for quality and assurance purposes. Who the hell turned the phone off? Find that person. Like it's beyond, it's baffling to me how ignorant people are acting about like where these people are. It's not real to me. It's not real. Like they know exactly where these kids are. And in my point, it's almost giving me vibes that these kids are in protective custody. That's the kind of vibes I'm starting to get. I hope I'm off base here, but it's like, why is our government giving these people so much protection? Why are they not being arraigned? Where is Dejanay Jackson? Where is she? Where is she? Is she in witness? Is she in WITSEC? It's given she's in witness protection. I'm not gonna hold y'all. Something ain't clean in the milk with it. Something ain't clean in the milk. Something is not clean in the milk. And I don't know why. Maybe Dejanay is the first one who sang like a canary. And maybe she told the feds what happened. And now they got her in witness protection because they know that the streets is out there. The streets is watching. You know, usually the first person to snitch gets the deal. That's how the criminal justice system works. They say boom, boom, boom. Everybody up being looked at. Whoever's willing to snitch first probably gonna get the deal. You may get immunity, you may get a lesser sentence, whatever. Maybe Dejanay is the one who decided to snitch. Maybe Dejanay is in WITSEC, and that's why they saying they can't find her. But you ain't gonna convince me, somebody who's lived in this country all my life and who is very aware of how social media works, how geofencing and geo tracking and iClouds and iStorage and how sophisticated our government is. We found Osama bin Laden. Strike that from the record. YouTube, don't strike my channel. I don't know if you could say his name on the internet. But like we can find anybody. You know what I mean? Like we could find anybody. We found Brian and what he did to Gabby Petito, and he was allegedly off the grid. You could find anybody. Come on now, you gonna tell me you can't find some black girl from Winston-Salem, North Carolina? They acting like this girl is like, is from the 1% of the elite. Like she ain't got that much money to be in hiding like this. Come on now. It's not adding up. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying that they can't find her. I'm not buying that they can't find these kids. Something is real fishy about that, you guys. I'm gonna tell you something real fishy about it. Real fishy. And if I'm using my spidey senses, I think she already spoke to the authorities. I think she already told them what went down. I think she's in witness protection. And I think that they are actively probably building the case on seeing who they going to make the fall guy. Who's going to be the fall guy? Who's going to be the fall guy? And honestly, what is his name? Khalil? If I were him, I'd be nervous. Because I'm not, if he had anything to do, if he is aware of a crime that was really committed, and this is just all hypotheses and theories. Everything I'm saying is allegedly here. I say that again. If it is true and that she was truly unalived by these people, and he has gone to the family home and dropped off her luggage and been over there multiple times and ran with this story, my spidey senses tell me that they are going to make him the fall guy. That's what my spidey senses tell me. Him, and this winter chick. Because Dejanay, she too gone for me. She too low. She way too low for me not to be looking and wondering where she is for real. She too low. So yeah, that would be my theory. And I guess I was saying Malik before, but I meant Nazir. But Malik, where is he? Where is he? You know, you be careful who you guys travel with. Always be careful who you travel with because and who you get drunk with. Because you don't know who your friends are until everybody drunk. And you figure out They say drunk mind speaks sober thoughts. When you know, I always suggest before you travel with anybody, get lit with them. By lit I mean drunk. Get drunk with them on United States soil in a controlled environment and see how they handle their liquor. Is this person a violent drunk? Is this person a aggressive drunk? Meaning when they get drunk, they want to get all sexual and start doing all of that stuff. Is this person the kind of drunk that get drunk and they just fall asleep? Or and they be gone and they go to bed early. Is this person the kind of drunk they get drunk they want to turn up and party? Like what kind of drunk are you? On various different forms of alcohol. And I'm also, nobody's talking about this, but I'm also not like, what were any other substances used out there outside of just alcohol? Like, do we know for a fact that they didn't have other things? They weren't using other substances? Because I know they said they didn't find anything in Shaquilla's toxicology report, that she didn't have anything. But are we sure that the others didn't have anything, that they weren't on something? Some drugs, you pop certain things, that shit make you paranoid. You start thinking people said something they didn't say. You start hearing voices. You don't know, man. I'm curious. I'm curious. Yeah, there was another girl. It was Winter Dejanay, and then what was that other girl name? She was a last minute invite. Uh, what was her name? Nasia. Nobody's talking about her really. I forget her name. I know she was a last minute invite. Nobody's really talking about her. No one's talking about her. Nazir mom was on Facebook asking for prayers from my son and his friends. I don't think any of the parents even reached out. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Somebody has to explain how her neck got broken. And if they did not harm her. That's the whole thing. If I'm innocent of a crime and I didn't really harm her, I would have no problem saying what I did. I wouldn't need the fight video wouldn't need to go viral. You know why? Because I literally would have came home, I would have went to the police and I'd have been like, "Look, while I was in Mexico, my friend died from alcohol poisoning. But I want you to know up front that we was out there wilding, we was getting turned up, we ended up getting into a fight, but that fight had nothing to do with what happened to her. So, like, to me, if you innocent of a crime, you're gonna go ahead and just go talk to the cops proactively. You're not gonna hide anything. It's like hiding. The fact that you're hiding things is what makes you look guilty. Don't hide anything. If the fight is not what caused her to be hurt, you wouldn't have to ask me. I would call her mom like, yo, we was out here wilding. We got, her and Dejanay got into a fight last night, but she was good in the morning. We woke up, we pieced it up. It was no problems. We ended up getting turned up again, and then boom, she got alcohol poisoning. Like, just tell the story how it happened if that's how it happened. But once you start concealing the details, you're making yourself look guilty. So if I was the mom, I would be like, why didn't y'all, I know Nazir saying he arrived late. I don't know his role in this. I really don't. But, I don't know. That's I don't know. If I'm innocent of a crime, you ain't gonna have to wait for no video to come out for me to tell what happened. I'm gonna get ahead of it. I'm gonna lean in. I'm gonna just say what I did. Like, we got into a fight, we pieced it up. We got turned again. Boom. I'm not gonna lie. And now I'm looking at myself on the internet viral for attacking some girl who's not fighting me back. That don't look good. That doesn't look good. But it seems like a lot. Yeah, it's a lot we don't know. I think the case is still developing. I think it's a lot we don't know. I think that my opinion, I think there's corruption all over this. I'm not above believing that the Mexican authorities has something to do with the cover up. I'm not above believing that at all. I'm not like at all. I'm not above believing that they might have even tried to extort them kids. Like, hey, we could write this up like this, and y'all could be in Mexico for a minute, or y'all can pay us and y'all can go home tonight. Which I want to do. I'm not above believing that. I'm not above believing that. I am not above believing it. Yeah. It's just a mess. A mess, a mess, a mess. But anywho, I've been running my mouth on this for like 54 minutes. But it was I just wanted to give my 2 cents because there's been so much going on with this case, and I didn't want to say anything too quickly before, like, because I feel like the case is developing day after day, moment to moment. But I do hope that the FBI does a thorough investigation. I hope that they stop letting the public believe that these kids can't be found. I feel like that's the most concerning part. Why there shouldn't be a public witch hunt for 6 Black kids in America. Like that's the wrong message. Like, why are we having a witch hunt for 6 Black kids in America? Like, y'all the whole FBI. The whole FBI. Like, go get them kids. Y'all know, like, they ain't that hard to find. We're not talking about people with ties to foreign nations where they could like get going. Like, come on now. They don't need. Why are we having a public witch hunt for Black kids? It's scary to me. And why are they also potentially encouraging murder tourism? They have to take an aggressive stance here. And make sure that people don't get any funny ideas going forward regarding this. So that's my opinion on it. Thank you guys for checking in on the live. Please like it before you head out. It would be greatly appreciated and super helpful to me. And I appreciate everyone. Have a happy Thanksgiving and hope you guys enjoyed the live. Talk to you guys next time, and bye.